Hey there, it's Kevin Ward again with Yes Masters Real Estate Success Training and the creator of Agent Power Launch. And this is the second video in the series on how to pass your real estate licensing exam or your broker's exam if that's what you're getting ready to do. So now is the moment of truth. You have showed up at the government, at the Capitol building or wherever the test center is, and you've shown up for your real estate licensing exam. This is it, baby. Pass or fail. Go home a winner, go home a loser. Well, it's not quite that dramatic. So let's just talk about how to crush this thing. How do you pass the test with flying colors? Well, first, you did in the previous video, you've done the 10 pre-test preparation steps to get you ready when you show up. Now you show up at the test and it's that moment. What do? Well, number one is you continue your positive declarations that we talked about in the first video. I passed the test with flying colors. I have a great memory. The answers come to me quickly and easily. I know the answer to every question, and you just keep declaring that. I know the answer to every question. I know the answer to every question. I'm a great test taker. I am a great test taker. I have an awesome memory. I have an awesome memory. I have an awesome memory. I am a great test taker. I passed the test with flying colors. I passed the test with flying colors. And as you're walking into the room, just maybe now you're declaring it to yourself, not out loud, but you're just thinking that in your brain. I'm a great test taker. I'm a great test taker. I have a great memory. I have a great memory. The answers come to me quickly and easily. You're telling yourself and reminding yourself, you own this. You got this. You can handle this. You've studied, you've prepared, and now you're simply going to come and you're going to lay out what's already in there, and you're going to walk out, you're going to pass the test, get your license, and start a great profitable career in real estate. So number one, just keep the declarations going. Number two, when you actually sit down to take the test, the first thing you want to do is now you want to get totally present. And you want to get there powerfully and strong. And the way you do that is to relax. And when I say relax, I simply mean you're going to take 4 or 5 deep breaths. And what I want you to do is take 4 or 5 deep breaths. And you're going to breathe deeply as you relax, as you sit down. You're just going to, you can close your eyes or not, but I would probably close my eyes. And I just want to breathe deeply right from the gut. And you're going to hold it about 4 or 5 seconds and then just breathe out real softly. Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. And I just want to feel the stress and any anxiety, just feel it melt away. And you just say to yourself, I got this. Piece of cake. I'm a great test taker. I got this. And you literally just calm your mind. And you visualize yourself knowing every answer easily. And I'm telling you, the mindset is so powerful. They talk about test anxiety because it's real, and because test anxiety can really mess you up. So how do you eliminate test anxiety? By not having anxiety, by not being anxious. Anxiety is stress, and when we stress up, our brain freezes up. And when you're taking a breath, you do a couple things. One, you send a great shot of oxygen to your brain cells, and they do better with oxygen. And like we talked about on the last video, they do also better with good nourishing foods, not sugar, heavy, fatty, or fried foods. And they do better with hydration, and they do much better with oxygen. So a few deep breaths when you're and by the way, as you're going through the test, take breaks, and you can literally do it as you're reading a test, and just take an intentional deep breath. And all you just do is give your little brain a good dose of oxygen. And that oxygen makes your brain clearer. It clears the fog. It makes your memory recall better and all of that. So you want to do that. Get yourself ready. Visualize yourself knowing the answer. And then as you start reading the first question, don't look at the answer yet. I want you to read the question, and then I want you to see the answer in your mind. In other words, read the question and then just let the answer pop into your brain. Now, it may pop, it may not, but when you do it that way, it's just, I'm going to read the question, and as I read the question, allow the answer just to be there. No stress, don't look for it, don't search for it, don't worry about it, just expect it to be there. And guess what? It's going to be there. And it may not be there totally clear until you start looking at A, B, C, D, and E, or however many, if it's multiple choice, assuming, or true and false. And when you see it, you'll know the answer. And so you've literally let the answer pop into your brain. And if you don't know the answer immediately after you look at it and you read it now, and I see the answer, but no, I don't see it. And now you're looking at, I don't know the answer. What do I do next? Well, the next thing you do is if I don't see the answer, if it's not clear to me what the right answer is on that test, guess what I'm going to do? Immediately, I am going to skip it. Don't guess. Just skip it. And here's what you're going to do. You're going to go through the entire test and you're going to answer the easy ones. That's how you're going to take your test. If there's 100, 150, 200 questions, however many questions are on the test, all you're going to answer are the easy ones. You just go straight through. Ooh, I don't know the answer to that one. You read it, no answer popped into my brain. I look at them, no, it's not clear. And if you don't know the answer and it's not clear, yeah, skip it. You answer only the easy ones the first time through. And as you go through it, what you're going to do is you're going to skip all the hard ones. You're going to skip the hard ones. And you're going to skip all the math ones. You're like, you really? You're kidding me, right? I can actually skip the math ones? Yes. I want you to skip. If it's hard and you don't know the answer, skip it. If it's math question and it's going to take some time to figure it out and calculate it, skip it. Now, if it's an easy math question and you just got to do 2 + 2 = 4, then do it. It's easy. But if you know it's going to take some time, and you got to figure this out, and it's one of those math problems where you got to read it and you got to calculate it and use your calculator and all that. I want you to skip the hard questions. Now, here's what I want you to do, because now you've skipped them all. How do you remember which ones you've skipped? So here's what you're going to do. You're going to have with you, and almost in every test site, they allow you to use scratch paper for your math problems and so forth. So I want you to take a piece of scratch paper, and what you're literally going to do is you're going to write 2 columns, and you're going to have one column and it's a question mark, and the other column is an M. Well, the question mark means I don't know the answer to it. It's a hard one. And the M stands for math, right? And then as I'm going down through the test, so I answer number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and number 4, oh, I don't remember that one. Oh my gosh, I don't know what the answer is to that one. I never saw that one. Okay, number 4, you don't know the answer to. That's a hard one. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to skip it, but I'm just going to write a number 4 on my piece of scratch paper. And you can just use a little piece of your scratch paper here. You can just use a little section over here, and you just draw a little line, and you have a question mark in one column and an M in the other column. And I didn't know the answer to number 4, so I just skip it. But now I know this is my skipped questions list, so I can come back after I've done it. So I'm going to literally go through and take the whole test, and I'm going to go through number 6. I didn't know the answer to number 6, and then number 13, and number 14 was hard, and number 22 was hard. And as I went through there, every one I didn't know the answer to, I didn't try to answer it, I just skipped it, and I made a note which ones it is. Now, what's happening is don't try to remember the answer. Is what I'm doing is I'm allowing my subconscious mind to work on it and find the answer while I finish the rest of the test, the easy questions. And that gives me momentum. It helps me get most of the questions already answered, so I feel good. My brain feels smarter because it's answering all the questions. And if it doesn't know it, it's like, screw that question. We'll just go on to the easy one. And you literally just put them all over there. Just leave them alone. Now, when you come to a math question, so number 11 was a math question, and it's one of those big problem questions about, what this house has this many rooms and this many and square footage or whatever. It's a math question. You got to figure it out. Or if the interest rate is this and the print down payment's 20%, how much, all those kind of questions. It's a math question. It's going to take some time. It's going to have to figure it out. So number 10 is a math question. And then number 11 was a math question. Number 12 was a math question. And then number 57 was a math question, and 59 was a math question, and 72 was a math question. And I now have a list of all the hard questions I didn't know the answer to, and all the math questions that were going to take some time to do. And what I did was I literally went through the entire test, and this way you get through the whole test. Most of the questions are finished, and now I've got plenty of time to go back and work on the hard ones and the math ones. And when you do that, now your brain is not worried about what's coming, because you know exactly what you got to. Now you know exactly how big the bite is you got to chew. I know exactly what's coming, and now I'm going to go back and I'm going to hammer through the tough ones, and I'm going to hammer through the math ones. Now here's how you do that. One, as you do the math ones, and you can do them in whatever order they come, but when you do the math ones, always make sure always make sure that you double check your answers, because what they do on the multiple choice questions on these on the licensing tests is they almost always give you the right answer, and then they almost always give one or two other of the answers that are answers that you get if you make a common math mistake. So if you make a simple mistake on it, then that looks like the right answer, but it's actually the wrong answer because it was a very simple math mistake. So you want to make sure that you take the answer you've got and kind of work it backwards now and make sure that the end result you got, the answer you got, was in fact the correct one. And so you want to double check your answers on the math questions. So that's how you do the math ones. Now on the hard ones, here's the key when you go back to them, and that is trust your gut. Because the reality is, if the answer to that question, if you ever knew it, if you ever learned it, if you ever read it, if you ever saw it, if you ever heard it, it is still in your brain. So trust your brain's ability to recall the right answer, and it's going to not come of a solid knowing. It's just going to come as, oh, I think that's the right one. And a lot of times it's that first impression. The first answer is usually the right answer, right? So if your subconscious says that's the one, go with your gut. Trust your gut, and the less you stress over it, the better your brain is going to function on it, and trust that the subconscious mind was finding the answer for you while you were going on through the test and answering all the easy ones. And then number 8. This is the biggie. When it's all said and done, both going into the test and after you've taken the test. And this, sometimes in some states you may know immediately if you passed it or not, and some you may have to wait. Here's what you need to know. When I go in to take the test, before I show up and everything, is if you will simply do this, accept the fact of what is the worst possible thing that could happen today. What is the absolute worst thing that could happen? You go in to take your real estate exam. What is the worst possible thing that could happen? And here it is. You could fail. That's it. That is the worst thing that could happen. No, they're not going to send you to jail. They're not going to put a billboard out there on the big billboard outside the test center going like, Bill's a loser, Bill flunked his test. It's not like they're going to announce it to the world. The worst possible thing that could happen is you could fail it and have to take it again. Oh, well. Listen, some of the most successful real estate agents I have ever known flunked the real estate exam the first time through. I think I may have even mentioned in the first video, I'm not sure if I did or not, but when I got my broker's license, I flunked my broker's exam the first time. And I'm pretty good at taking tests. I've always been pretty smart. I'd been in real estate for a long time, and I had sold a lot of houses. I had been very successful in my real estate career, and I still flunked the test. Okay, so if that's the worst that could happen, get over it. It's no big deal. In other words, it's not something worth stressing about. If you'll just simply accept the fact that, you know what, I'm taking this test today. I'm a great test taker. I have a great memory. The answers will come to me easily. And the worst thing that can happen is I have to take it again. No sweat. And what happens is I just released myself. You just release yourself from being stressed out about it. No anxiety. No worries, no problem. You got this. Now go and pass it.